everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Navs Nation podcast. I'm Nick Perenick. Alongside me, as always, is my co-host Gus Balo, the play-by-play voice on the NECBL network for your Navigators. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Remax 360, a real estate office out of Lynn, Massachusetts. Whether you're buying or selling a home or just curious about the local market, Remax agents are dedicated to making your real estate experience memorable and enjoyable. So contact Remax 360 today by calling 781-593-7611. That's Remax 360, conveniently located on 85 Exchange Street, Suite 302 in Lynn. So Gus, welcome in. Thanks for being with me again today. And let's recap a little bit of what's been going on with the Navigators since last week, since we had our last episode.
Yeah, it's been a lot of games. I was actually away for a couple of those games last week on a family event, but I'm happy to be back for these last few games with the Navigators. Starting when we last recorded, we had the Navigators beat Vermont 4-3. It sounds like ages ago now, but that was the first game since we've recorded. They did get swept by Upper Valley on Wednesday and Saturday, 5-3 and 14-5 losses. One of those being at Fraser Field, the other one being at Upper Valley. So the first time that the Navs have played the Upper Valley Nighthawks this season, and Upper Valley looks like one of the top teams so far. They did lose to Vermont last night as we're recording this on Wednesday, June 16th. So obviously pretty even start to the NECBL so far. The Navigators also tied North Adams again on Sunday for the second time in as many meetings. 5-5 was the final score between the Steeplecats and the Navigators. So overall, pretty good start for the Navigators. They did have a 10-0 win against Keene on Friday night at Fraser Field as well. So overall, good start for North Shore. 4 wins so far and 3 losses, 2 ties. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond against Stanford, who they played last night and won 4-2.
Yeah, and you mentioned, tying the Steeplecats for the second time, and we were joking a little bit off the air. It's like they're so evenly matched. It's like they could tie the rest of the year, and it would be good free baseball for us again. And they've played a total of 22 innings against each other so far, and neither team able to come away with a win, but it's been entertaining nonetheless. And some of these other teams from all over the league have been very entertaining this year. We've seen our fair share of Upper Valley and the 2 losses against them so far, and they are the favorite right now in the North Division, along with the South Division right now, even though we're not going to play them at all. Newport and the Vineyard, each 6-1 so far. So they're dominating the South. So it's really been a good year so far, and we're about to get right into the meat of the schedule in both divisions. So I'm looking forward to some more ball as the summer progresses.
Yeah, like you said, meat of the schedule coming up. So another game against Stanford tonight, Wednesday. By the time this podcast will go out, that game will have concluded, but looking forward to that matchup tonight on the NECBL network. And then on Father's Day, they'll be back in Stanford once again. So 2 trips to Stanford coming up for North Shore in the next 5 days or so. So I'm looking forward to that. They'll also play Winnipesaukee on Friday. They'll be heading up to Laconia. And then they'll be back at it again on Saturday against North Adams at Fraser Field. So some games coming up for the Navigators, should be a lot of fun. And we have a great interview today with one of our premier players on the Navigators, that being Joe Lomuscio.
Yeah, Joe's been great so far this year. And defensively, offensively, and some pitchers as well have really been standout guys so far this year. And some of the guys that stand out to me would be like Jonathan Luters playing in the middle of the infield and even third base as well. And then Cal Cristofori behind the plate has been playing some great ball this year so far. And there's just a list of guys that have been playing really well, and it's been fun to watch them play.
Yeah, the pitchers as well. Luke Marshall, another guy who's had a really good season so far in 2 games. He's really been doing a nice job commanding the zone in both his appearances for the Navigators. Justin Matera had a save last night in that Stanford win. He has 2 saves on the year. I did say 1 on the broadcast last night, actually, but he does have 2 saves on the year for North Shore. So he's having a good start from Merrimack College. So overall, a team effort. There isn't really one guy that's standing out for the Navigators right now. It's just a lot of guys who are doing a good job so far of just finding the zone and attacking it, whether it's offensively, defensively, or the pitching staff. But again, meat of the schedule coming up. So now as the team is really connected with themselves, as all the other teams have in the league, it'll be really interesting to see who can come out on top in these next few weeks.
And no better way to transition to our interview is Joe. In this interview, it's a great chat with him. He does talk about how this team is cohesed into one, and they're playing great ball. And he's looking forward to more at bats and more playing in the outfield this year before he gears up for a year at Stanford University. So without further ado, we'll pass this off to our interview with Joe Lomuscio, the outfielder for the Navs.
This interview is brought to you by Kelly Auto. We now say hello to our next guest on the Navs Nation podcast, Joe Lomuscio. Lomuscio most recently competed for Brown University, and despite not having a season last spring due to the pandemic, Lomuscio is fired up for yet another season in the NECBL. The future Stanford Cardinal played against the Navs back in 2018 when he played for the Brockton Rox before playing in the NECBL in 2019 with the Valley Blue Sox. Back in his latest college season, Lomuscio earned first-team All-Ivy League as a sophomore, starting all 39 games at center field. He had a .339 batting average, totaling 59 hits, scoring 32 runs, and had 174 at-bats, which were all team highs. The West Roxbury, Massachusetts native went to Roxbury Lyon High School and also played football in addition to playing football for the Foxes. So far for the Navigators, he's also having a really good start, literally, as he had a walk-off sacrifice fly against the Vermont Mountaineers at Frazier Field on opening night. Nonetheless, Joe Lomuscio is fired up to continue playing his college baseball locally as he heads to sunny California in the fall. Joe, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
We're doing great, thanks. Glad to be here. Glad to have you on. And after another Navs win last night over Stanford.
Yeah, it's good to get another win. You know, we have the 18-inning tie against North Adams, so we're trying to pick up wins now.
Yeah, oh my God, you guys in North Adams. I think you just love free baseball. Love giving the fans a show.
Yeah, I said 18, but you know, what's more like 22 because we got the extra innings in there too. So exactly. I don't know. Maybe the next game we'll figure it out.
Well, let's go back here a few years to your, introduction to, summer ball here in Mass when you played for the Brockton Rox, and you'd played in the Futures League there, and you played really well for the Rox. And what was that experience like for you? And you did play against, as Gus alluded to in the intro, that you did play against the Navigators when you were there in the Futures League. What was that experience like, first of all, quickly in Brockton?
Yeah, Brockton was a good time because one of my roommates at school, he had been living with me. So him and I made the commute. I was able to live at home, which was nice. About like 40 minutes down to Brockton. Not too bad. But yeah, I got to know him better because we were living together, doing everything together. In terms of baseball, I got to know a lot of cool kids all over the country. That was kind of my first introduction to summer baseball. And like you go in and there's older guys that are like, oh, this can be like a little bit of a grind. But then you go in and you meet all these guys and you're like, this is so cool meeting all these new people. Like I just finished my freshman year at Brown meeting new people. Now I'm just meeting all these more people. And it's like, everyone loves playing baseball. Everyone loves being there. And in terms of the North Shore Navigators, we had our good few games up here. And I've always enjoyed playing at Frazier Field. I used to play in the Lynn Invitational back in the day. So that was like in high school days. But I'm no stranger to Frazier Field, and I love it up here.
That's awesome. So the next season you actually played in the NECBL back in 2019. You played with the Valley Blue Sox. Just talk about that experience and what that was like. And obviously the NECBL is a higher league of baseball. So just talk about that experience.
Yeah. So I actually started out that summer. So I went to the Valley late, about like 4 or 5 weeks into the season, because I started out on a temporary contract in Harwich down in the Cape. And again, that was another really cool experience, but that ended pretty shortly. And then I got to go out to Western Mass, and this was my first time. So the previous summer I had lived at home, and now this time I was living with a host family. I got super lucky. I live with the owner of the team. He's an awesome guy. Freddie, if he ever listens to this, love you, Freddie. But fed us amazingly. Nice house. I live with 3 other kids who I still text to this day. Like this one kid from Western Kentucky, this kid Rich, I text him almost every other day. The catcher at Xavier, Nate, I always text him too. A lot of the other guys too. But and again, the step up in baseball, you could tell. And but at that point, I had a good few at bats under myself, and I was ready to kind of compete and to test myself a little bit. So that was always really fun.
Yeah, and Western Mass, I was out at Springfield College for 4 years, and so I know that Holyoke area, and I know the Valley Blue Sox name through that area, and those games at Mackenzie Stadium can be pretty fun. We won't play this year at Mackenzie Stadium because of the divisions. That wouldn't happen until a championship game, if that were to happen. And it's a lot different this year with COVID and whatnot, but that's also been the case with Brown. The way your career finished up at Brown, and you had a lengthy career at Brown. but at the same time, it was cut short. So just want to talk a little bit about that, because you did, as a freshman and a sophomore, play in every game, and you started every game in the outfield for those two seasons. And then you played every game your junior year, but that was only 12 games. And then you flash forward, you're named captain for your senior year, and that was cut short. So talk to me a little bit about like the emotional roller coaster that must have been for you. You know, higher life, you're playing in the Ivy Leagues, you're playing, you know, every game, and then all of a sudden it's all cut short. And, you know, you're fortunate to be able to have that grad transfer year next year. But just talk to me a little bit about Brown before we get into Stanford.
Yeah. So Brown was awesome for 2 years. You know, we were doing well. We were working our way up. We had good recruiting classes. The year above me, the kids were very good. We were setting ourselves up for a junior year where we were going to legitimately compete in the Ivy League for the first time in a little while. And a lot of people were excited about that. I know we were excited about that. Even in our last series, right before we got canceled, we put up like 19 runs against Kennesaw State, and we were like, oh, this is the year we're hitting the ball well, we're throwing the ball well. And then, you know, the next week we go to play Northeastern at home, and then boom, the Ivy League kind of shuts everything down. I can remember the day we were down at practice, and coach is like, all right, we got to get off the field. And we had this like in the back of our head, people were talking about, oh, COVID, things like this, but it wasn't anything like big at the time. We were still like, oh, no one knows what it is. No one knows, like so many unknown variables. And he pulls us in the locker room, and honestly, right away, your heart goes out for the seniors. And then instantly you think, how long will this go? And then ended up going a lot longer than we all could have expected. Lost 2 years from it, but you know, I try to think about it like this: like there's a lot of opportunities I'm getting now. I'm meeting the kids on the Navs team. I'm playing for the Navs, and I get to live at home again. And then I have the opportunity to go to Stanford. So I'm just trying to think about the positives. But Brown was definitely a great experience. Love all my coaches there. Still talk to them all the time. Still bad game with the Navs, I go talk to my coach Mac. He always gets me right in terms of hitting. So you know, I'm going to keep those memories, and I'll keep those connections forever.
Real quick about Brown, you know, just a quick follow up here. How was it going to school in Providence? A lot of colleges down there. You're not alone going to Brown, but you know, those colleges down there, it seems like a good college town. What was that experience like?
Yeah, I really had no interaction with Providence until, like, I'm from Boston, and you know, it's only an hour away, but I've never been down there. Like you hear about it, and like always in the back of your head, people are like, "Oh yeah, Providence, that's the town with all the highways, right?" Like just going through it. Like
Yeah.
that was the old reputation, and I get down there and I'm like, "Oh, this is kind of a nice spot." I'm like, what's so bad about this? And then we got an off-campus apartment the last 2 years, and I got to experience a little bit more around. And then I had my car down there the last couple of years, so I got to even experience a little bit more. And you know, kind of fell in love with. They're building it up too. Like I was taking a couple real estate classes at school, and one of them we went like intensely into like the different projects that are being built in the area, and I was like, this is going to be such a sick spot. like maybe I'll come back at this point, you know. But I loved it, and we had a little bit of interaction with like Providence College and stuff like that. They're honestly, they're not that far away, but like the way things spaced out, they like seems much farther than they are. I had a couple buddies over there from high school, one who played soccer, one who played lacrosse. So like we were in and out. I watched a few games over there. They came a little bit over here, but not a ton of interaction with the other schools, but is a really nice spot that's being built up.
So let's transition to the 2021 season with the Navigators. This is the first time you played for the Navigators, not the first time though at Frazier Field, as we talked about earlier on the podcast. So through the first about, couple of weeks of the season, how do you guys feel the chemistry is right now with the team and, heading into, the heart of the season now?
Yeah, I think instantly everyone started clicking. You know, coach had us practicing a couple days before the season. Other teams I've played on, we haven't done that before, and then that kind of shows. You know, like you get into the first couple of games and you're like working things out. No one's calling for the ball, no one's playing well together. But you know, those practices I think really did make a difference because we kind of hit the ground running. We were all ready to go. Our defense has been phenomenal. You know, like that's one of the biggest things. The hitting will always take a little while to get going. You know, guys had some time off, especially we have a good amount of Ivy League guys. I think the other day, out of the 10 guys playing, we had 6 guys who are Ivy League guys. So that's 6 guys who haven't played in 2 years. So, you know, we're all just trying to get our footing back, and yeah, bats are starting to roll a little bit. We're putting up runs. The pitching's good. Like last night was just like, we didn't put up as many runs, but you know, the pitching bailed us out. So you need things like that where everyone just kind of works off each other, and it's starting to figure itself out.
Yeah, just watching from, either the press box or the sidelines, it's easy to notice, you guys are all clicking. And I was down by the dugout the other night and you guys are all cheering each other on. And, it's regardless of college. And, you playing against some Ivy League guys, you're playing against some Harvard guys who you might have played hard against before, but now you got to play with them. So it must be an interesting transition. I've asked other guys about this like Ivy League kind of like rivalry, but now teammate thing. What's your take on that?
Well, the first time I kind of got into it was when I was in Brockton. I played with 3 kids from Harvard, and like going into it, I was like, oh, we're playing those kids from Harvard. You're like, screw those guys. But then, they ended up being my best friends while I was there, and I'm like, all right, like we're all doing the same exact thing. We just like when we're in that group where we're at school, we like hate each other, But like it's fun, dude. Like those guys. When I saw them the years like after, I was just before every game we'd go hang out. I'd be like catching up with them. I'll still text with them occasionally. So, and the guys this year, Logan, Hunter, just those are the 2 main hitters right away that like we've just been hanging out all the time. So, it's been cool. It's been really fun.
So after this summer, you'll be heading to Stanford for your grad year. And what are you looking forward to most about that? Obviously, a little bit different geographical location in California. You excited to head out to the West Coast for one more year?
Yeah, you know what? I've been a New England kid for my whole life. I've been in Boston. I've been down in Providence for college. I've been around here, haven't really moved out. And I'm just going to take this year, I was like, screw it. I'm going out to California and I'm going to go out there and I'm excited. I'm going to actually drive out there. It's going to be an experience. So at the end of the summer, I'll be driving out there. My girlfriend's actually coming with me, so she'll be driving with me. I won't be alone, but I'm looking forward to it, and technically I still have 2 more years of playing. So, I'm only halfway through college, so I got to milk this as long as I can. That's the way I see it.
All right. You looking forward to anything particular out in Stanford? Maybe the weather. Obviously, the weather a little bit better than New England.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to being able to play outside during the winter and not be in a small indoor facility or outside in the freezing cold or it not ever getting warm for the entire Ivy League season. That'd be nice. I've heard about the weather out there. My roommate from at school is from San Francisco, and he's like, I hate the weather here. I got to go back home. So I'm like, all right, I'll come with you. That's what we're doing. So I'm excited for that.
That's awesome. And it's funny you mentioned that because the other day I was talking to one of your pitchers on the staff from University of North Florida, Zach Chappell. It's his first summer playing up here. And it was like the 60-degree day, kind of overcast, a little rainy. And I'm like, gotta love New England. Like first summer in New England summer ball. And he's like, he's the opposite of you. He's like, I love this. Like it never gets this cold down there, like when we're playing, and especially in the summer. So it's just funny that, it's kind of best of both worlds for you guys. But yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I would say that exactly. But I've heard about the infamous 70 degrees all year round in San Francisco. So that's my favorite weather, put a little sweatshirt on and call it a day. So I'm looking forward to it.
So one last question here before we let you go. Obviously, the Navigators, we are recording this on Wednesday. The Navigators will be playing in Stanford tonight at 6:30 p.m. You can catch that as well as all games on the NECBL network. So by the end of the summer, what are you looking forward to most gaining from the Navigators as you head to Stanford in the fall?
Yeah, I'm just looking to compete. I'm going to go into Stanford having to fight for a spot. And, it's no different when you're playing summer ball, but it's a little bit more relaxed. And I'm just trying to get at bats in because at bats are really the only thing a hitter, like not the only thing, but the main thing a hitter needs to keep going. And I've had plenty of at bats in the past, but the time off has really kind of reset me. So, I'm just trying to hit as much as I can, focus less on results, which I've been too result focused in the past. And I'm focused on kind of changing my mentality and kind of moving on from things. So I'm excited to kind of put things I've learned over the break into play and kind of see how they work out.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Navs Nation podcast. It's been a blast to watch you guys play and watch you hit and play out in the outfield this year. And we're looking forward to, the heart of the schedule.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys having me. Thanks for having me out.
Well, that was a great interview with Joe Lomuscio. Joe is a great guy to talk to, and he's always someone that has been a standout around the Massachusetts area. He played against the Navigators back in 2018, but now he's on the Navigators in 2021 in the NECBL. So great interview with Joe, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he continues the rest of the season.
And we're looking forward to seeing you, Navs Nation, at our next home game, that being this upcoming Saturday, the 19th, that against the North Adams Steeplecats, looking to come away with our first decision against them. Either that be a win or a loss at this point. Maybe we'll tie them again. That being at 6:35 first pitch at Fraser Field. So we're looking for you to come on down. Tickets are $5 for adults, and children 4 and under are free. If you can't make the game, no problem at all. Gus Balo has you covered. Gus, on the NECBL network, he's been on the call for almost every game this year and doing a great job with it. So you don't want to miss out on that. He has you covered for all the away games as well.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And again, that hopefully the weather will cooperate on Saturday. We're looking for some nice weather. Had some good crowds on the last couple games. Sunday's crowd was a nice one against North Adams. So we're hoping to see Navs Nation come out and support on Saturday against the North Adams Steeplecats, 6:35 p.m. first pitch.
And then the next big night for the Navs is June 27th, that being a Sunday. So an early 4:00 game, 4:05 p.m. first pitch. That is Bark in the Park night, sponsored by Healthy Pet. So we're really looking forward to that. Bring your dogs down. If you bring a dog, you get 1 ticket for free. So we're looking forward to having all you with your dogs and puppies down there, and looking forward to some good ball that night as well against Vermont.
Yeah, that's been a tradition that we've had at Fraser Field for a few years now, but we're happy that we're able to bring it back this year in 2021. So yeah, bring all your dogs, your puppies, whoever you want to bring. And again, that 1 ticket gets you in free if you do bring a dog. So should be a good night for some baseball back coming up rather on the 27th of June.
Yeah, and thank you guys so much for listening. Joe was a great interview, and we'll bring you another great interview next week. For Gus, I'm Nick, and we're signing off, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much, Navs Nation.